Hey guys, Urban Combat Survivor here. This is a video response directly to or back to Shall Not Be Infringed. He did a video called Safe Zone Meetings, and that was a response, I believe, to kind of an amalgam, I guess, of some of the videos I've made, my Safe Zone videos. And I like your idea of having it like it's just us having a conversation. Like this is actually a meeting. I think that's just good thinking and good prep, and I like the way you want to do that. So I'm in. If anybody else wants to hop in, by all means, make videos, and we'll make it like a conversation that's going around and around. But I'm going to kind of try to cover the points you made in your video in the order that you made them. So kind of chronologically, but if anybody didn't watch Mike's video, go ahead and check it out, because this will make a lot more sense, I guess, if you watch that. So one of the big points you made was that you think we should all limit exactly how much is going to be community based. I'm definitely on board with you on that. You said that you think the only two things that should be communal based should be security and medical. I would add fire to that. I got a plan on any factories, municipal buildings, anything like that that are within or close range to my safe zone. I'm gonna go get every friggin' fire extinguisher I can get and kind of set up a little firehouse. So that's the plan on that. As for putting a medical facility in somebody's house, my plan was to use more like a municipal building, maybe a school or a library or a playground or something like that. Something that has big open floors, big open rooms. That can more easily be cleaned if there's any kind of blood, anything like that. You might not want to use a house, because we know now about bloodborne diseases and shit. So you have to worry about that. You have to worry about contagions and that kind of thing. But also, yeah, man, I'm right on board with you with that. You were talking about, you made a point about the fruits of your labor and your personal property. You made points about both. I'm actually going to cover them both in one thing here, at least my thinking on it. Just because there's a breakdown in the rule of law doesn't mean that your shit ain't your shit, and doesn't mean that you don't get to decide what happens with the things that you've grown or fished or hunted or caught or bred or whatever. It's your stuff, man. That doesn't change personal property. The concept of that, in my mind, doesn't change if there's a breakdown. Hell, that's the point of establishing, the rule of law in your own little safe zone, is to make sure that you preserve the values that we have as a society, or at least the ones they had in the '60s. A lot of these new ones kind of suck, but so for me, no. If you grow 100 pounds of corn, or you go, you got the lobster boat, you go out and you catch whatever 150 pounds of lobster. People don't get to just line up and stick their hand out. That's not how it goes down in free societies, man. So, in my opinion, I mentioned it a few times in a couple of my videos. Actually, part of my plan for a safe zone is to set up marketplace, and set up a market day, or maybe 2 days a week, where people can come together and all right, you got that lobster, you want to go do trading. I know you got that lobster tank, so you can keep them alive for a while. Maybe go down the market day and trade them out. You need stuff, you need materials, you need whatever you need. Maybe some guy's growing wheat and you want some of that. So, in my opinion, that's why a marketplace needs to be set up. It's one of the foundation reasons for, again, having a safe zone. One is the rule of law, 2 is security, and 3 is the ability to continue acting as a community. And that's going to require trade. Stores aren't going to be open anymore. Supermarkets aren't going to be open anymore. As for people who don't have the talent, I know I'm kind of speaking quickly here. I'm trying to get through the points. I made a response, and it wound up being 24 minutes, so I'm trying to truncate this down. I may have even said that already. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, for me, the fruits of your labor, they're yours. Your personal property, your guns that are already in your house, they're yours. Something to consider with the guns. In my plan, in a breakdown situation, anybody I shoot trying to take my shit, any gun they have is now mine. Any boots, anything they have is now mine. So I'm going to collect that shit up. And so if it comes time that a security patrol needs to be armed, that is coming out of that first. This is really where my thinking is. If you don't arm enough people to have valid security, then you're basically screwing yourself. You need the security. So at some point, you're gonna have to find a way to make sure people are armed, at least enough to provide security. So my plan on that is something like this. Any guns that I have, if there aren't enough guns out there to provide security, anybody that's going to go do a security patrol, or they're going to run and do, they're going to do like some kind of mission where they're going to try to find food to bring back, anything like that. Sure, I'll issue you, one of those 9mm Glocks. There's going to be a million of them around here. Yeah, I'll issue you one of those, and maybe 20 rounds of ammunition for your patrol. And at the end of your shift, you hand that back in, because that's still my gun. You hand that ammo in, and if the ammo comes up short, then whatever you did with it, whether you're trying to sneak off, siphon off ammunition for something down the road, or you're trading it off for something else, or whatever you're doing with it, obviously you can't be trusted to be issued ammunition, so you're out of the security patrol. So you better find some other way to make a living, because if you ain't got nothing to trade at the market on market day, you're going to starve, buddy. So I know you mentioned, again, I'm trying to hit your points. I made some kind of little notes here. I think I covered the medical stuff. Finding a building that has like big open space, like tile floors and shit like that, might be a little harder to heat, but I think it'll be easier to keep sterile. So for me, that balance kind of trades off in favor of going with it. Let's see. We both mentioned alarm bells a couple of times. You got a bell? Or if you don't have a bell, or a church or something close by that has a bell, maybe think about that. Also, I mentioned a few times the ability to make homemade air horns, like a Tylenol bottle and a piece of balloon and a straw, or like a piece of a hollow pen tube. So definitely check one of those videos out for anyone that doesn't know how to do that stuff. One of the biggest points you got to, I know I'm kind of rushing through this. I want to make sure I get everything in. One of the biggest points you hit was how to handle human waste. How you're going to get rid of the people shit. And that's something that I've really looked into, because disease vectors are certainly going to be a problem. And so one of the best ways to make sure you keep your community disease free. Speaking of medical and disease, let me hit this real quick first. I don't know. Again, I redid this video twice, so I don't know if I already mentioned this, and I did, sorry, but here it is. There's a book called Where There Is No Doctor. There's another one called Where There Is No Dentist. I'm going to put PDF links down there under the video for anybody that doesn't have them. You can buy the books if you want a hard copy, but the PDFs are free. The people that create them give them out for free. And they're a hell of a resource for medical stuff. I also have other books on medicine and care and that kind of thing. And Hiberniason did a great video on resource books. Go check that out too. I'll put a link to that down there too. So the last thing, back to human waste. I came up with 4 possibilities for that. One is somehow get a big bin, maybe a dumpster from outside of a store or something like that, and use that as like a giant composting bin. That's the least favorable of the plans. Another thing you could do is have kind of one or multiple community outhouses, like you were talking about, putting an outhouse on the pier. The problem with that is you have to start worrying about overflow. How do you take care of it? You don't have lime. In your case, you got the ocean, but how long before it starts really fouling the whole water line there? So I think that's a good short-term plan, but we all have to come up with something, I guess, something better for that after the first initial few weeks or whatever. You could have a big burn barrel and just keep it constantly going, like a big 55-gallon drum, and everybody just brings their shit there and dumps it in and burns it up. Again, smell problem and a bunch of issues, and the best solution that I've come up with, I'm only mentioning the others just because everybody might have a different situation, but for me, I watched a video, or I watched an episode of Dirty Jobs, man, Micro. That dude has solved our shit problem. He did one episode where he went out with a truck that pumps out septic tanks, and he went with the septic tank to see what they do with it afterwards. And here's it, man. They just have a big concrete flat that's directly in the sun, and they go dump this shit and bile and whatever the hell else it is out on this concrete flat, and they let it dry in the sun. So if every house sets up their own like drying pan that's in direct sunlight, you can let that stuff dry out. It doesn't take long, 48 hours or something like that. You can come back, it's completely dried out, and you can then kind of scrape that. It looks kind of like dirt now. I wouldn't get too happy playing in it, but you can then scrape that up and then add that again. There's got to be a dedicated compost bin. You can't mix your plant and herbivore compost bin. You can't put that stuff in there. Anything from a human, anything from any kind of meat-eating predator or scavenger can't go in there, man, because it'll foul it up. There's different bacteria, but you can have your own. And the Japanese, they used to use that shit to fertilize their rice fields. So it can be used for that. It's not a perfect plan, but it's a good way to get rid of it. You dry it out, you scrape it up, you add it to its own dedicated compost bin. If every household kind of has their own thing like that, then it should take care of the problem, especially if everybody puts them up on the roof. Any crosswind up there should keep any smell from coming down and fouling the neighborhood, at least hopefully. That shit's up there baking in 90-degree weather. It's gonna kind of suck, but that shit also dried out a lot faster. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks for making the video. Thanks for hopping in on the conversation again. And if anybody else wants to hop in, do it, man. We'll keep this conversation rolling. We'll get a big community meeting like thing going on with the videos here. So that's it. Urban Combat Survivor, signing off.